to Firepit Friday. It is wonderful to have you here at the Firepit.
Well, thank you for having me.
I see you have a little friend there.
I do. Hey, Hank. How are you? You want to say hello to everyone?
He's doing great, too.
Yes.
He's going to keep you company.
That is fine. Such a dog lover.
What brought you to Tennessee?
I came to Tennessee for a couple of reasons. One is because I just needed a change. I grew up in the Atlanta area, or actually north of Atlanta, and I just really needed a change. It was time. But I mainly came for my Foundation for Kids with Cancer. This was such a great place to be able to expand my territories as far as for working with kids with cancer. And Nashville's such a great place.
Yeah.
It's a great healthcare mecca, educational mecca, and just healthcare and medical and education. Fabulous place.
So growing up, do you have experience with cancer? Is this something that's in your family, or is this something that is just dear to your heart, a cause dear to your heart?
I have, I'm a 2-time cancer survivor. And I've also had a lot of my friends affected by cancer. My best friend is also a cancer survivor a couple of times over. But while I was taking treatments in the hospital, I ran into a group of kids. And while I was taking treatments myself, and I realized just what they had. They had so much passion about them, and they really inspired me and kept me going. And when I had an opportunity to make some changes in my life, I decided, you know what, I need to give back to those kids. So, which is the main reason why I came up here.
That inner strength. Do you remember the first time finding out about cancer?
Yeah, I was 20 years old. I was 20 years old when I found out about that I had cancer, and it was female cancer. It was uterine cancer.
Oh, wow.
And I was diagnosed not too far off from my wedding. I was one of these. I wanted to get out of school early, so I graduated high school at 16 and was done with college at 20. And shortly before I met Jeff, and shortly before we got married, I was diagnosed with cancer. So it spun my world.
At a young age.
Very young age. Still a kid myself, so it helped me to identify.
And then relating to the kids in the hospital.
Right. I just went through when you're diagnosed, you don't know how to handle, you yourself don't know how to handle it. So the only way I think I could really cope is by finding inspiration from others and just trying to understand. It's just, you can't understand why that would happen at such a young age. But then when I looked at the children that were in the hospital and saw what they were going through, my life, I realized, well, you know what?
Your turning point.
Yeah, my life's not that bad, and kind of made a bargain with God. Hey, if you if you get me out of this, I'll give back.
And you have finding the artist in you. That probably maybe that was a path that you were on at that point.
I think so.
Yeah. Can you talk about it?
If you look back, I think if I look back at my life and realize I've loved music all my life. My mother said I came out singing.
Literally.
And she didn't put me back, so I guess that was good. My mom said I was just always into music, and I remember sitting in front of the television set growing up watching Donnie and Marie, and eventually, as I got older, Barbara Mandrell, and just loving the Nashville area.
Right.
But in the whole music world, I became an artist myself and started dabbling in songwriting, but mainly just performing, as a kid, 8 years old, singing up in church, just singing propped up next to the piano, singing 12 Disciples. So I kind of grew up with that music background. And as I got older, I realized how to take what had happened to me in my life and my experience with cancer and turn it into passion for music.
Wow. Wow. Do you remember that epiphany? Do you remember when that happened?
Yeah, it's funny. I just got asked that question today, and I do remember the aha moment. I remember I was sitting in a recording studio, and I wanted to record a record. That was one of my goals, and one of those bucket list kind of things. And I decided I wanted to record a record. My producer looked at me and he said, "You know what? We can record all the songs you want, but I really think if you go home and you sit down and you find your passion within yourself, write that on paper. So I remembered going to a cancer survivors event called the Relay for Life, and it was in Gwinnett County. And at that time, Gwinnett County, it was the largest in the nation. I'm not sure if it still is, but at that time, it was the largest in the nation. And I remember standing in the survivors line and backtracking a little bit. I remember I didn't want to go to that because I had kind of an attitude. I was just tired of I wasn't happy. I was just not a happy person. I was very successful. I'd taken my survivorship and gotten through it and become a successful businesswoman. I just wasn't happy. And I remember being in the survivors line, and they, at that point in time, the song from the Titanic was so big, My Heart Will Go On.
Beautiful.
I remember listening to a cancer survivor singing that, and I went, oh, wow. But I'm standing in the survivors line with 1,000 other people, and we're about to walk this survivor lap. And I'm standing there with an attitude. And my best friend, who at the time, who now is a cancer survivor herself, said, you know what, you need to let it go. And she was pretty much in my face. And I appreciate that now. And she just said, let it go, embrace your survivorship, and shut up and walk. Just shut up and walk.
I call that a true friend.
Oh, yeah. And to this day, and now that she's gone through it, it's a bond that will never be broken between us. And I began walking that lap, and as I walked that lap, I saw other people, other survivors, and they were laughing and smiling, and I'm thinking, what is my problem? And I went back to those kids, and in the oncology unit when I was fighting cancer, and I thought, wow. And as each, it was a big lap around the football field, and with each turn, each sharp turn around, the quarter turns, I thought, wow. So a part of me was born that day, or reborn that day, and my survivorship became a part of who I was.
Wow.
And from there, I really began to embrace the music. So remembering back to that producer telling me, you need to write from your heart.
Find the passion
Find
in
the
you.
passion. I went home and I sat down and I took those pictures out, laid them out on the floor of that day at Relay, that Relay for Life event, and I found my joy. I found my passion. I found my power. I found the purpose. And it was a moment.
And do you play? So did you have any, is it just writing, or was this the music was coming out of you? How was this playing out?
I wrote a song called Live the Dream, and it was about that night. I wrote it in 20 minutes. And, it doesn't matter what the critics say about a song and the right dynamics and of a song. What matters is what the message is. And I wrote down about the flame of life, which at the Relay is so important because it represents life. And I wrote about hope. And at a Relay, they write out in luminaries, the word hope was spelled out. And I wrote about the flames of life and how they are hope, and at the same time, how they are very difficult.
Oh, yeah.
And how life is difficult. And when the flames are right under you and you're just having to fight, and it was, the song clicked. I wrote it in 20 minutes, took it back to the producer, and I said, okay, here. And I handed it to him. And I said, I don't know what to do with it. I don't really know how to write songs. And he just looked at me and he went, wow.
Yeah.
And he sat down at the piano, and the next thing I know, then we brought in a group of survivors to sing the backup. So I just put it out on the radio, now again, from a small town in Georgia. So I put it on the radio in print. Survivors, if you want to sing in a choir and you want to be on a record, come on. Well, I had no idea what was going to happen. We had so many people show up at the studio, we didn't know what to do with them. We never turned anyone away, but my producer went, what did you do, put up a billboard? And, well, yeah. No, not really, but they just kept coming, and they were all survivors, and we had this beautiful banner, and it was, wow. It was incredible, and they sang the backup. They just learned. I said, okay, here's what we're going to sing. And then in the end, the producer turned it in. His name's Lee Davis out of Atlanta, and he turned it into a masterpiece. And the Relay for Life then picked it up and said, it's going to be our theme song. So the Relay for Life picked it up, and for a couple of years they distributed it and sold it through their catalog, and every penny went back to the Relay.
That is beautiful.
And the next thing I know, I am speaking across the country at relays, and being able to tell my story and being, viewed as a real artist, because I became an artist.
Right.
And I didn't really know what I was doing, but I began to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized, you know what? This is what being a musician, an artist, a songwriter is all about.
Yeah.
Giving back and seeing what your creation can do for the world and how it can change lives.
Music is a healing.
Mm-hmm.
It is did they do any musical therapy at all? Do you remember if there was any musical therapy when you were going through your bouts of
Not necessarily for me, but for the kids, and that kind of stuck with me. So when I was creating the foundation for children called Billy's Wish, we took animated characters, and made them the kids' heroes, but the characters also were fighting cancer, and kind of told a story about how to get through having cancer. And we created coloring books and storybooks, but then we brought it back to music. And we created a CD. And a lot of the songwriters in Nashville came together and donated their songs for the
book,
for the album that goes with the book, which goes with the fun book. So there's a whole a series of music that goes with the story. How did you come up
with the title? How did you come up with that?
With Ivan and Sam?
Yeah.
Ivan is the name of my IV pole that the kids named in the hospital.
Ivan.
Kids name everything. They name absolutely everything in the hospital. They name their Band-Aids, they name their ports, and they named my IV. Because I had an IV back in those days, you didn't have the porta pumps and stuff. So you had your IV, and I just kind of carted it around. Kids named it Ivan. And I had a dog named Sam. He's a beautiful golden retriever and just like the perfect dog. And unfortunately, he passed away with cancer. So in his memory, we created Sam. And so Ivan is a little boy fighting cancer, and Sam's his best friend, the dog. And Sam is very comical. So there's a lot of comical relief in these animated cartoons and through the story.
For children. And of course it has beautiful music in it, so it makes sense.
Yeah, and it's fun music. Becky Hobbs, who wrote Angels Among Us, she wrote a song called Who Needs Hair? And it is so fun. And it's basically the most played. When I get feedback, that's it. That's the song. That's the one that people love. But we also have a song about the dog, We have a song about the dog, but we also have a lot of hopeful songs in there, and inspirational songs and moving songs, and lullabies in there about a mother that sings to her child, because it's so it's not just for the kids, it's also for the families and the extended families. The whole project is so.
Oh, how exciting! And isn't that still available?
Can you
still get that?
Oh, you can get it on the website billyswish.org or Ivan and Sam.
If you could say right now, one of the most rewarding things to you, deep in your heart, as you go on, as you're going forward, you have so many things going on in your career. The common thread, would you say it is your passion in everything you do?
Absolutely. But it's also purpose.
Purpose. Okay, let's talk about that.
Well, everyone has a purpose. Everyone has talents. Everyone has gifts. But it's up to those individuals to identify what those gifts are.
Right.
It's the story I just told you. It took me a little bit of time to figure out where my gifts were.
Right.
But if you really get quiet, stop your world, and sit down and go, what am I really passionate about? What's the message that I really want to give people? It will come to you. And that becomes your purpose. And then your passion for music, it will radiate in your career. But you have to really have the mentality of what you can give, not what you can get.
Very interesting concept, especially for young artists.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to your quiet moment. How do you reach that? How do you get that? For someone who is kind of reaching out to maybe a little soul searching of themselves. Have any suggestions?
I think the first thing you do is turn off your cell phone for a little while.
Good suggestion. Very good suggestion.
I know everyone's looking for the next big deal, but you know what? Those big deals are few and far to come by anymore. And I think it's important that the artists themselves turn off their cell phone, get with themselves, because everyone has some drive within themselves that they got to focus on. You know, artistry is limitless. It's limitless. But you have to define what limitless is. Limitless doesn't mean that there are boundaries of that need to contain you, and people need to tell you what you need to be. You got to define that yourself. And getting in those quiet, peaceful moments away from the world, and just stop and just think. And really dig down deep and go, what are my gifts? Why am I here? And you know, sometimes it'll come to you out of the blue. You don't necessarily have to have the quiet moments. Every now and then, they'll come and hit you upside the head. You know, when you're fighting cancer and your hair's falling out and you're feeling horrible and you're 100 pounds and you're walking down a very long corridor and you look up and you see a little bald kid coming at you and you go, wait a minute.
Your quiet moment.
That becomes your quiet, your aha moment. But I'm also not in my 20s anymore. And if I have any words of wisdom to anyone in their 20s or early 30s, once you pass 40, it becomes you really need to try to find the wisdom from someone older to where you can look back at their career and go, okay, well, they're doing well. How do I get there? Really, you know, surround yourself with people that will guide you. You know, our senior population, you know, I own my own senior living company, and we provide senior services and senior housing throughout Middle Tennessee and Kentucky. And, you know, my experience is they have so much to offer. But, you know, as far as advice and as far as helping kids to understand, and we can learn so much from them. And, you know, you don't appreciate that when you're young, but you got to stop and you really got to appreciate. You know, they may drive an old Buick, but you know what? There's a lot of wisdom in those seats of that Buick.
Tell me about some stories. You have got to have some like little chestnuts that you just like.
I've got all kinds.
Oh, yeah. You've got something. I know you must.
I do. Okay, I have. Okay. I have to tell this story.
Okay.
I love this story. One of the first. Okay, I had built an assisted living, and one of the first residents who moved in, her son was a predominant physician.
Okay.
In the town. And she was feisty. She had fallen. She had broken her hip. She was in a wheelchair, and she was going to learn to walk. And she was feisty, and by golly, she did learn to walk again. But at the moment,
girl on fire.
Yeah, but at that moment, she had to come and do rehab with us. And she came to the door, and she was not happy about being there. And we were warned by the doctor, she's not going to want to be here. She's just not going to want to be here. And I remember, my entire staff made this big to-do. Okay, what are we going to do? Okay, what is her favorite meal? So we were going to get her favorite meal. We had flowers. We had gone, I mean, we had gone such the mile for this woman. And she comes in, and as they open the door like this, she comes in, and she's like this. I'm not coming in. And she's grabbed the door, the door frame, and she's not coming. And this is happening. And finally, she doesn't have enough strength, so she stops. And she gets in, and it's just trying. It's very, very trying on the staff. Well, that was on a Monday. By Sunday, she was ready to go to church. But
Wow.
the son came and picked her up. She went on to church. The next Sunday, she went to church. The next Sunday, she called her son and said, "They're having church here. Why don't you come here?" We're like, "What?" Next Sunday, "I think you just going to church. I'm going to stay here. You just going." So I remember the family's just kind of spinning, going, "Okay, this is good." Well, she met a feller.
Oh, no. No.
She did.
And what age are we? What age
Oh, we are in our late 70s, early 80s.
Go, girl.
Yes. And they got married.
No, Karen.
They got married.
They got married?
In the courtyard. Yep. They
You
got
had a
married in the
wedding.
courtyard. Yeah, had a wedding. It was great.
Oh my gosh, my heart is just like full. I mean, you had a wedding at your facility.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy. Oh,
It just goes to
beautiful.
prove life changes.
It does.
And life is great if you allow yourself to let go. And when she let go of that door jamb.
That's right. I'm not coming in.
She was not coming in.
I do.
I know. So it's awesome.
Wow. So what are you doing now at Maristone? What's happening? Got anything interesting going on right now?
Oh yeah, we're actually expanding. Probably looks like we're going to expand into Kentucky this year.
Really?
So we have several communities going up right now. One's about to open. We have another one that's going up. So we're kind of staggering. And we're looking at doing other things, looking at doing some different type senior services in this area. So I'm excited about that. Writing a book and for females who have gone through, female businesswomen who've gone through cancer and who needs to find that passion and power.
Well, let's talk about that.
And that's what I'm excited about doing next. Hopefully it'll be out in October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Exactly.
And that'll be in October 2010.
So do you do anything, do you have any fundraising or anything that you do in for that month? Do you have anything going on?
September is National Childhood Cancer Awareness Month.
Okay.
We will be doing a big fundraiser in Nashville for Billy's Wish to do the next phase, which we're going to be raising money for more product.
Okay.
And interestingly enough, one of the things the hospitals ask for a lot is crayons.
Really?
So we're going to do Billy's
easy.
crayons and Billy's blue and Golden Retriever yellow and, take our characters and make them little, crayon colors. I'm really excited about that. We are all over the country now. Our materials are all over the country. We do take donations online.
Okay.
And we, through a secure website, justgive.org, which is incredibly a fabulous, very safe organization to donate to. And it's billyswish.org or ivanandsam.org.
Okay.
So the characters are Ivan and Sam, so you can't forget that.
You can't
then
forget
Billy's
that.
Wish. So.
Which is perfect. Yeah. So here you are in Nashville, and I know that you're kind of a little bit of a jet setter. With what you've went through physically, is it hard for you? Is it hard for you to keep that pace up? Are you completely in recovery, or is this something that you really do have to pace yourself?
There's always room for improvement.
This is for the girls out there who are trying to
This is
overachieve.
for the girls, yeah.
The girls who are overachieving.
I'm trying to set the example. Those who have ever fought cancer can tell you, please take care of yourself. Put down the cigarettes, put down what you know is going to hurt you, and take care of yourself. You're given one body. You're given one life. No matter what, you're given one body and you're given one life. And that body is your temple. No matter what religion you are, take care of it.
Take care of it so
very
that you
important.
can help take care of others and give back.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I have my hands in a lot of different pots. I would have it no other way. I would have it absolutely no other way. But I do have to stop from time to time. And I'm finding that my 3 days away, where I try to turn off my phone and just settle down, really is so valuable and so treasured and so cherished. Because when you get away from it all, don't just turn off your cell phone and sit in your room. Get away. Yeah, I made I'm not big on New Year's resolutions, but I did make one for myself, and that is that I will spend every 8 weeks, I will take 3 days for myself and remove myself from my office and my house and put myself somewhere. Because
Ooh, very good advice, Karen.
you just, that's where you get your quiet moments, and that's
Oh,
where the clarity
yeah.
comes in. And don't just, leave here and just go a couple of, rooms down, just say you lock yourself in a room. Just get away.
You're talking about completely transforming and getting back on track.
And that goes back to their own purpose. You can't serve others until you serve yourself first, and you take care of yourself first. And I have to do that for myself. And we all have we all have that place we can go to, but we have to force ourselves to go to it.
Right.
And whether it be internally,
Yeah.
of really thinking, what do I need to do?
Yes.
Or completely getting away. We have, the world is changing for women.
Mm-hmm.
And it's open.
Mm-hmm.
The world is wide open for you don't want to call it a women's movement. That just doesn't sound right. But for kind of a transformation. And we're establishing ourselves in society, and it's a good thing.
It's a great thing.
But we're also very, very, we need to all be very cautious. We just need to take care of ourselves. And I don't like to work out. I just don't. But I do. Because if I don't, I'm not good for people. So, but I think the important thing is just surround yourself with people.
Oh, that's good.
Surround yourself with people who make you a better person.
Yeah.
My grandmother taught me that.
Me too. My grandmother
Taught me that, and a lot of my family members taught me that.
Yeah.
That you're only as good as the people that surround you.
Uh-huh.
And that sounds like, oh, whatever, that's so cliche, but it's true.
It's true. Wow. You know what? I've got to tell you tonight. It's my epiphany is my personal space and taking some time off, and I think I'm going to start texting my favorite girlfriend.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Wow, what a wonderful interview! Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much.
I love your candor. I absolutely love your honesty, and you're a beautiful person.
Oh well, thank you.
Thank
So
you
are
very
you.
much.
So are you. So
Highlight.
is she.